The Best of Bob Grant. Highlights of America's most listened to talk radio personality. Previously recorded for broadcast at this time. WABC, New York.
Joe, you're at WABC with Bob Grant.
Hi, Bob.
Okay, I said hello, you said hello.
All right, Bob, let me tell you something.
Yeah, all right.
All right. What's your last name? Real name?
My last name, my real name, the name on all of my official documents, Social Security, driver's license, and everything, is Robert Grant.
Robert Grant?
Yeah.
It don't sound like Italian.
Well, it isn't. The family name was Gigante, but it was changed a long time ago, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
You say...
Well, when a guy asks me what my legal name is, I got to tell him legally what it is. It's Robert Grant.
You say Newark is...
Where are we leading up to with this, pal? What are we doing with this here?
All right. You said Newark is nice, right? And the mayor's nice.
I think Sharp James is doing a pretty good job, yeah.
Really? No, not to me. Because as far as...
What has my name got to do with what Sharp James is doing? What is all this interrogation, you cabone?
I want to talk about Newark.
Yeah, well, if you wanted to talk about Newark, you should have started talking about Newark instead of asking the name crap. Get off my phone, you greaseball jerk.
Yep.
If I'd have known he was going to respond, I would have let him on. I'd like to hear what his comeback was going to be. Back to our busy telephones here, the Bob Grant Show. This is where the action is on your AM radio dial, 77 WABC. Frank from Yonkers. Hello. What did you call about, Frank?
Well, if you'll forgive strong language, another slut, Laura Blackburn. Could you tell me what are her credentials to be commissioner of anything? I understand she gets 120 or something thousand.
Well, that's just for starters. Look at the free travel she gets. Look at the $340,000 she could spend to make her office look like some palatial suite. She's got those fringe benefits like those Sotomayor. Her credentials, she's the right color and knows the right people. Mainly it's that first thing.
Is it possible that she got to where she is by doing all the rhetoric about wanting to help disadvantaged people and helping the oppressed and all of this, and once she gets into office, she takes their money allocated to them by the federal government?
No, I don't recall her ever making such a phony speech because she never had to. She had the inside track. And when you have the inside track, you don't have to make phony speeches. You just sit there and wait for the gifts to come in.
Well, you're probably right, but I would really like to know where she came from, because I doubt she's qualified to be commissioner.
Well, of course she's not qualified. And yet, this mentally bankrupt jerk we have in lieu of a mayor, he had the gall to say he still regards her as one of his finest commissioners.
Oh, by the way, last week, the day you were gone, Lynn Samuels, she had a caller who called up, and you'll love this. He accused you of having a total lack of disrespect for our mayor, David Dinkins. I think you've got a great deal of disrespect for him, and I think all of it is deserved.
Well, I wonder where he got that idea. Why is it that people feel, and you sound like you should be a little more mature, why do people feel that they have to tell me what somebody else said about me on another show? Why do people...
Oh, only because it's so grammatically wrong. The point I'm making is not only does he not listen to you, he doesn't listen to himself.
Okay.
He doesn't know what he's saying.
All right. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Marion, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hello. How are you? Sorry. Whoops. When you asked the senator why this bill was going to go in and so on, he said to you, well, it's the mudslinging and people are sick of it and they stay away from the polls. And that's not the reason why people are staying away from the polls. The reason they stay away from the polls is because everybody tells us not to vote. You do it all the time. The New York Times editorial before the presidential election was a classic. Do you remember that? 2 solid columns of pros and cons, upsies and downsies, and the very last sentence said, well, we really, I guess we're the caucus. So people say, hey, what the hell, one or the other, up or down, why should I go vote?
I never tell people not to vote
No, you're very good. You say go vote, but they're all a bunch of crooks, and they're all no good, and they never should get
No, I
paid
don't
any
say,
money.
no, I don't. Please don't misquote me. I don't say they're all no good.
You say dump them all out.
I don't say. Well, yeah, I say get rid of incumbents. Now,
that's it.
wait a minute. How do you get rid of incumbents unless you vote? You have to go to the polls.
You said dump them all.
Well, there's only one way to do it, and that's to go to the polls and to vote the skunks out.
Ah, there you go. And then, but your
But I never tell anybody not to vote.
I didn't say you did, but you might. But the message is there that your vote doesn't make any difference.
Oh, but it does.
You know what you call?
No, you know why it doesn't. No, wait, hold it.
What?
The only reason it doesn't make any difference is people keep voting for the same dumb Democrats most of the time.
There you go. Listen, I agree with you there, but the point I'm getting at is you use the term politician as a dirty word. And when you do that, you are telling people, in effect, that they are all a bunch of bums, and it makes no difference. Once you become a politician, you're no good.
I'm not telling people not to vote.
Didn't I say that I did? Why do you keep saying that? I said you didn't.
Well...
Why do you keep saying that?
Why are you screeching? What's the matter? Didn't you...
oh, there you go.
Didn't you get any loving last night?
You can't have a...
Marion, what's the matter with you? When's the last time, Marion?
Go ahead, insult.
I can tell when a woman is sexually frustrated.
You need to do that.
I can tell when a woman is sexually frustrated.
You cannot have...
I know what you really want.
You must... What's the name? You want to call me a name?
No, I wouldn't call you a name. Why should I call you a name?
You call me a name because...
Any sexually frustrated woman like you should not be called a name.
Bums.
Maybe I can send some guy over.
That's right. Go right ahead. And I got news for you. You couldn't be the one because you wouldn't know how. You see, that's your problem. You are an insulting person. You won't listen to anyone else that has an idea. You would much rather be insulting and demeaning and try to degrade that person.
Well, wait a minute.
But you can't do that
I'm not trying to degrade.
Because I'm far superior.
All right, Superior. Mother Superior, let me...
That's another thing. If I called you and did a job on Cardo O'Connor, you'd let me talk forever.
What a BB.
Like
Listen, Marion.
Yes?
I really didn't say those things you're accusing me of. What I did...
Do you remember the time you had that... What's the name of that fellow with his wife that goes around with a hat in New York and patrols or something?
Are you talking about the Guardian Angel?
Yes. You had that young man at one day in your studio, and somebody called up and said, you want to run for office. Well, right away. I hope you don't do that. Once you do that, you become a politician. I want nothing to do with you. What do you think that tells people? The people that we should go out and vote for are no good. Another leading commentator just before the election said, when he goes to vote for the president, he's just going to hold his nose and pick one. That tells the public what to do, doesn't it?
Well, sometimes.
It says stay home because it makes no difference who wins.
Spot on. Sometimes we are voting for the lesser of two evils. Sometimes.
I agree.
I voted for George Bush with alacrity, with enthusiasm, in my belief.
So did I.
Yeah. What did you say?
So did I.
Oh, so did you. So, Marion, I don't know that
but I don't think that we are being told constantly that the government is no good, that the politicians are rotten.
Well, most of them are. Marion, most of them are.
No, they're not.
Most of them are. They double talk.
There you go. Well, you see, this is.
Every time I say something, you say that. All right, let me ask you.
Yeah.
You're calling from Connecticut?
I am.
Are you happy with Chris Dodd?
I have been in some cases, yes. I like some of the...
The only thing you liked was when he voted for John Tower. That was the only thing you liked.
Yes, I did. I liked that.
Okay, that was the only thing you liked. Joe Lieberman, you probably were glad he got in because he replaced an abomination, right?
I just wish he was on the other ticket because it would have been a better edge in the Senate. But yes, I certainly am.
That's right. Are you a big fan of Governor O'Neill? Is he a peachy keen guy?
Mr. O'Neill has been a fine governor in this state.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that somebody.
And if you know a lot about Connecticut politics, you probably would agree with me.
Well, Marion, I really don't want to disagree with you at all because you get so excited.
I don't get excited, but when you drum off on...
Why can't you be nice?
Nothing.
Marion, why can't you be calm and easygoing and
so
magnanimous like I am.
So easygoing, you wouldn't believe.
I never get excited and raise my voice.
I know you don't, and I'm trying to model after you.
I see. You know, Marion, the trouble with you is I like you too much to get really angry with you.
I know.
Yeah.
The last time I called you was about 2 years ago.
Really?
Yes.
And
I called you, and it was one of those gag hours.
Oh, and what do you... Oh.
And when I got finished, you said, gee, I liked that.
Yeah, there's... you know, you
used it for a year in promos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you ever worked as a dominatrix?
I'm an arbiter.
I beg your pardon?
I do arbitrations.
Oh. But I mean, in your spare time, do you ever work as a dominatrix?
I don't think that's funny.
I do. Well, I don't think it's funny. I think it's just interesting because you have that definitive quality. Would you send me your photo? I'd like to see what you look like, Marion.
Sure. What would you do with it? No, don't answer that on the air either.
Thank you, Marion.
Goodbye.
Bye.
The Best of Bob Grant returns after these messages from WABC.
40 years ago, for a period of 2 years, I visited friends who entertained every weekend. I visited them every weekend and used marijuana with them for 2 years. Now, I never used it during the week at that time. You know, I haven't had it in 40 years now. But I remember it fondly because it was really a beautiful experience. And as far as I can tell, I never suffered. I never became addicted to it. And I think it was great because it did, as he said, make things much more vivid, colors, music, and I still remember those things.
Well, you don't sound like you're making much sense because if it was that great, you would have continued doing it. It would have been just a 2-year...
It's not available.
A 2-year interlude in your life.
It's not available to me.
Not available
I'd
to
have
you?
to go out of my...
And by the way, you used the wrong word. It didn't make the colors more vivid. You perceived them more vividly. The colors didn't change. Your perception did. You say it hasn't affected you? You should hear a recording of how stupid you sound. It's a French physicist who is probably the foremost nuclear physicist in France, who had been here in 1985. And he... had read reports on Shoreham, and he did studies on Shoreham. And he said that it's as fine a plant of its type that he has ever seen built anywhere. But, of course, Il Supremo said, what does he know? What does he know? Il Supremo's the one who knows. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the call.
Oh, thank you.
As we told you earlier, Cynthia Fordham is to be with us, and she is. She's professor of anthropology at Rutgers. And we are calling her because of that study we alluded to earlier concerning black identity versus success and seeming white. What editorial conclusions have you come to about all this, Cynthia Fordham? Do you have any remedies if a remedy you feel is needed?
I don't know whether that would be the best way to frame the question. Remedy, I don't know whether it's necessary to remedy, to fix a people's culture. Culture operates to help people to survive, and I don't know whether one needs then to change the culture. I'm not sure that that's the framework that most people come from, but it's the one that as an anthropologist, that I look at, and I see what is, of course, essential to a culture, that is change, and I see the changes in the black community emerging and growing and coming about because of the ecological conditions, that is, the social conditions which confront them. And I think that the findings that I reported in the article that the New York Times discussed in today's article, that what has happened is that this long history that black people have had in America has resulted in the kinds of responses that, at least some of which were noted in the article that Professor Agbu and I completed several years ago.
All right. Well, let's try to get right down to brass tacks here. You yourself, you're an individual human being. You're a black woman. You're an American citizen, and academically, you are successful. Now, let's just talk about your experience. Why are you successful? Is it because you were guilty of acting white? Were you consciously doing that, or did you just read a book and study it and go to class and learn your lesson? I'm not quite sure I know what we're dealing with here.
Right. That is probably part of the problem, at least. If you talk about individuals and separate them out and talk about this individual doing da-da-da-da, that makes sense, that that person is able to overcome, or as you might have framed it earlier, as you talked about it earlier, or might be successful in spite of. But that does not negate the argument that we're advancing in the paper that we wrote, in that because we look at, as most anthropologists do, we look at social groups, and when I did the study at Capitol High School in Washington, D.C., I, of course, was concerned about what are the factors implicated in school success for a black American, African American youth today. Why and how do they achieve school success? As an individual, I found lots of black kids at the school doing well, but I found most of the kids not performing well. And while I'm extremely interested in developing a theory of school success among black adolescents, I can't do that without considering at the same time why so many of the kids are unsuccessful. And you can say, well, this individual overcame this barrier. But that does not negate the case. Individuals do not change, the successes of individuals do not change the perceptions, apparently. I mean, we have evidence of that, of the group. And I think what black people traditionally have done has been, the focus has been on the group, and they tended to eschew individual success, or the kids tended to eschew individual success, because they also thought it was important for black people to be successful. And I don't mean that they did this consciously. I think they are social forces operating, which they are not conscious of, and they operate in those ways, and they respond in ways that obviously from someone who's looking outside might say, well, gee, that's so idiotic, that's so irrational. But it helps the group to survive, and I don't think any culture can be accused of being dysfunctional for the survival of the group. And survival in itself is, of course, as some people see it, success.
I'm not quite sure I'm following you. I think that we're having a problem here in communication. Let's approach it this way. James Comer is a professor of child psychiatry at Yale University. He's mentioned in the article.
Yes.
Do you know Professor Comer?
I know of his work. I've met him, yes.
Okay. He said black youths internalized messages about being black and that were transmitted by society. And he said, and I'm quoting the article, fear of acting white could be a factor among non-mainstream oriented poor black children. What I don't understand, and you'll have to forgive me, after all, being a white person, maybe I just don't understand, maybe I'm not capable, but what is the fear? You know, if you're afraid of the dark, you say, well, I'm afraid of the dark. If you're afraid of thunder, you know you're afraid of thunder. What is the fear? Fear of being ostracized by other blacks? I don't understand that. I'm trying to define the fear.
What we were trying to describe fear, and using language, obviously, that many people frequently misread. We were saying that in domains of life that have traditionally and consistently been considered, the prerogative of white Americans, oftentimes lead black kids to avoid those domains because they have not been traditionally successful in those areas. And not just that they do that because of fear in the literal sense, but because traditionally black people have not been allowed admittance to those areas. They have not been successful in those areas. Their parents have taught them that those areas that would be counterproductive for them or not productive for them, because they would not be able to get jobs, would not be able to earn a living, et cetera, so that their world, traditionally, the world of black Americans has been more limited than that of white Americans. White parents teach their kids to explore, to go to the outer limits. Traditionally, that has not been the case for black parents, because they told them that these things were not safe, that they would not only perhaps endanger the individual, their child, but they would also endanger other black people. So that the fear, what we said about coping with the burden of acting white, which is the title of the article, was that it's recognizing as a black American that you are perhaps working in a domain that has traditionally been very, very limited in terms of black success and or off limits completely. And so that the kids or individuals who choose to go into those areas have to cope with the lack of acceptance on the part of white Americans, for the black person, and the feeling of disloyalty from the black community because this person is going into that arena.
All right, I appreciate you coming to the telephone discussing this most complex problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Benny, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Bob. I congratulate you, first of all, for the interview that you just did. But perhaps you could enlighten me as to what she was talking about. I have no idea of what that lady said. She should become a politician or something. I haven't the foggiest idea of what she was trying to say. What was this about? I missed the whole thing. I was listening. I tried. You were patient. You asked the questions, and she just go off into left field someplace. I never understood one answer that she gave to you.
Let me. I'm delighted with your question. Let me say this: there are two kinds of interviews that I. There are two interviews that I do. The interview I did, and the interview I wish I could have done. If we didn't have all these interruptions for traffic, commercials, and all that, it would be far easier to at least try to get something out of someone. I posed the same question essentially 4 or 5 times.
Yes.
And I couldn't really get an answer until the very end. She finally said, I think, hit on what the essence of the whole problem is. And that is, we have been misled by the so-called civil rights movement, which told us in the beginning, human beings are human beings, whether you're black, whether you're white, whatever. You're all human beings, and you're basically all the same. And all blacks want an opportunity is to compete, and to compete fairly. Now we're being told that if they compete, they're going to be ostracized by their fellow blacks, and they're going to be ridiculed because success is seen as acting white. This is insane. That's
nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It's rubbish. This lady is a professor or something, and she believes that. I just don't understand that.
Well, I think she's having a problem because I think she's caught between what her own obvious intelligence tells her and her fear of being criticized by other blacks.
I guess that must be it. But I wish she would learn to express herself a little better than she did, because that was a whole waste of time as far as I'm concerned, because nobody understood anything. I'm sure nobody understood that.
Well,
because you're a very intelligent person, obviously, and it took you that long to get the essence of it. I never did get it. I mean, at least you finally figured out what she was talking about, but it's just rubbish. It's just total waste of time.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, but I wanted to give her every possible opportunity. We even ran overtime.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have. I should have gone to the traffic reporter 2 or 3 minutes earlier than I did, but it was like pulling teeth, and I guess we didn't really extract the molar after all.
Right, but you gave her a shot. You absolutely did. You were very, very patient, and I congratulate you for trying to get to the bottom of whatever it was. But
okay, Betty. Thank you, Betty.
Okay, I enjoyed you, Bob.
Bye.
Bye.
Ralph, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yeah, Bob, that guy just stole some of my thunder. I was going to ask, I really didn't understand what she was saying, but Bob, being on this subject, I'd like to ask you, I always hear the role model discussed. Let me ask you, the Asians in this country, they seem to do far better than any other race or ethnic background. I mean, I really don't know of any role models that they have to look up to. I mean, how can you put it like, I mean, the Asian does so much better than the others, even though they lack the role model?
Because the Asian has a basic inherited intelligence, and nothing can, we can't deny that. And the Asian also has something else. For the most part, he comes from a home where there is a family structure, where there is a father, a mother, and where they demand that the youngster do his homework, where he is taught respect for mom and pop and grandpa and grandma, and where the rules are laid down in the home. This we cannot escape. In the black community, there is virtually no home life. Forget about the Huxtables. That's fake. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's a fantasy for sure.
I mean, I wish the Huxtable families were all over the joint. It'd be wonderful, but it's a fake. It's a phony.
Bob, let me ask you something. There was a professor that was going around to, going back to the Stanley Siegel base here in New York.
That Meshuggah, yeah.
Well, I know he's out in California, but there was a professor, I don't recall his name, he was going around, and he was actually giving stats on various ethnic groups. Now, he said that the Russian Jew and I believe it was the Japanese are far superior in intellect, with the white man, the European, being slightly below them. Do you give any credibility to that?
Well, first of all, I don't know what professor you're making up here. I don't know who that was.
No, it is. I don't recall the guy. He's been.
You don't recall the guy.
I don't recall his name, but he's been on various programs.
Oh, he's been on various programs. Well, gee, I don't know, Ralph.
One more comment.
Ralph, I find you hard to take. You know that.
No, I know that. Just one more thing. Because
I mean, you sound like you auditioned for the Dead End Kids. You got turned down, and ever since you've been trying to prove that you deserve to be there.
One more quote. Just one more quote. But one more thing, you're in a good company with Shatner, Reynolds, Cosell, because you have the hairpiece. You know that, right, Bob? And yours is not even top rate, though.
Shatner? Who's Shatner?
William Shatner. He has a good hairpiece.
Yeah, his is better than mine, Ralph.
But yours is a little bit like on the stringy side.
No. You know what, Ralph? You're a real two-bit greaseball gabone jerk. Get off my phone. It's 17 minutes before 6 on WABC. I knew Ralph was going to get to the real reason he called eventually, and sure took him a long time. He's a sick skunk. I hope he croaks. Right here at WABC, I'm Bob Grant. I'm saying hello to Joyce.
Is this Mr. Grant?
Yes, Joyce.
Mr. Grant, you know, I hear you every evening talking about black people. If you don't know anything about black people, why do you say, you just said that there is no discipline in the black family's home. You don't know anything about black people. Why don't you visit their houses? Come and see us.
You come and see us?
Yes.
All right, I'll come. Are you inviting? Hold it a minute, Joyce. Are you inviting me for dinner?
That's right.
Where do you live?
I live in St. Albans.
Where?
In St. Albans.
Oh, I don't like going out to Queens.
Well, that's all right.
Too inconvenient. I don't want to have to pay an East River Midtown tunnel.
That's all right.
Will you pay my Midtown tunnel toll? It's $2.50 each way.
That's all right. But all I would like to say to you is this. If you don't know anything
Hey, look,
about
Joyce,
people,
Joyce, take the chip off your shoulder and talk.
No, because I'm
Take
tired.
the chip off your shoulder. Where are you from, Joyce?
Where I'm from?
Yes.
I'm from South America.
My foot. You're not from South America. You're from one of the islands, aren't you?
I'm from Guyana. It's South America.
Oh, Guyana. All right, you're from Guyana.
That's right.
Why did you come to
Don't
my
ask
country?
me why
No. I want to know.
I came here a long time ago.
Oh, I didn't ask.
Me why I came
Joyce,
here.
I didn't ask when. I asked why. Joyce?
Why should I tell you why?
I'll tell you why you should tell me, because you called me. I didn't call you.
Yeah, but I don't
And you
have to
engaged
tell
me. You engaged me in conversation.
But I don't have to tell you why.
No, you want to know something, Joyce?
I'm
You don't.
a citizen of this country over 30 years.
Joyce,
I don't have to tell you why.
Joyce, I didn't ask you if you were a citizen or how long.
You know,
Joyce, you don't want it. Joyce, why do you get defensive when I ask you why you came to my country?
I'm tired of hearing you asking people that.
You're tired of that?
Tired of hearing you asking
You have an off switch. Do you have an off switch on your radio, Joyce?
What? No, I don't.
You don't have an off switch? It's on all the time, huh?
I have a walk-in phone. I'm here doing my work.
What kind of work do you do? What kind of work do you do, Joyce?
I am a seamstress, and I'm finishing some dresses right now. And you talk about colored people. You know nothing about them. Don't talk about them.
Don't talk about them.
No.
I'll talk about anybody I want as long as I do the Bob Grant program.
I'm tired of it.
I'll talk about anybody I want in any way I want. And if it offends you, Joyce, then you can do two things.
I don't mind you saying something if you know it.
Yeah, if I know it.
You only see on television.
Joyce, hold on a minute. You more than I should know that there is a total breakdown in the black family. And you know who said that?
Mr. God.
Do you know who said that?
Not only in the black family.
Do you know who said that?
Too.
Blacks themselves have said that.
They're stupid blacks who
They're
say
stupid
it.
blacks. They're not intelligent like you, huh,
No,
Joyce?
they're not.
They're not intelligent.
They're stupid to say it.
I see. Joyce, too bad we all can't be as intelligent as you.
Well, I'm glad I'm intelligent. I'm not stupid.
What time is the... All right, let's see how smart you are. What time does the Bob Grant Show come on the air?
Well, you come on at 3 o'clock.
Okay, good. What time do I sign off?
You sign off at 6 o'clock.
You're all right, Joyce. With enemies like you, I don't need friends.
I listen to you because I want to hear what the people have to say to you and what you say. But I like your program. But sometimes you get me very mad because if you don't know anything about black people, don't say what you don't know.
Joyce, do you realize that this is a program dedicated to the exchange of opinions?
I know it.
Do you realize that you're giving your opinion and I'm giving my opinion?
I know it. They're good. Listen, Mr. Brandt. They are good and bad in every race.
Ah,
okay?
you are now at last.
Bad in every race.
At last, we can agree. There are good and bad in every race, and
right.
That's all I ask is that everybody acknowledge that.
And I will tell you something else.
Yes.
TV is what got these kids the way they are. Okay?
TV.
That's right. The news media, the television is what got them.
All right, Joyce. Thank you for the call, Joyce.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, well, Joyce knows when the program comes on, knows when we sign off. Roy, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Bob. Let me identify myself. I am a former conservative vice chairman for Suffolk County for 4 years. And your conversation with the professor was idiotic for the simple reason. What she was trying to say was that even though black and whites may start off at the same when they were born, but there is no equalization after that because of the circumstances of this country. And you know and I know, and not just for your...
Okay, what are the circumstances? What is it that we do that we should stop doing? Come on, let's fix it, for crying out loud.
One of the things that you should do that you shouldn't stop doing, one of the things that you don't do is appreciate the blacks in this country for what they have to offer to this country.
I don't appreciate groups. I appreciate individuals.
I
appreciate individuals. Hey, I got news for you, pal. I got news for you. I don't love every white I see.
You appreciate your, what is it, on the 20th of the month? Well, I got a high rating for my program, so I can be offensive to the blacks because you have all these people who are coming into you.
You know something? I want to congratulate you, Roy. I thought Signithia Fordham was hard to understand. You got her beat.
No, you understand. This is how you run from things when people face up to you.
Face up to me.
Yes.
Hey, you want to know something, Roy? I tell you what, I believe in fair play. Let me check my brains at the door. We'll start out even. Get off my phone, you dumbbell. It's 7 minutes before 6 o'clock.
The Best of Bob Grant returns after these messages from WABC.
All right, Ralph, you're on WABC. What's on your mind?
The electrified third rail, blood transfusion, the gas mask, all contributions by African people. Furthermore, who are the real savages? Was it the people who welcomed Christopher Columbus with open arms and friendliness, or was it he and his group of animals who took over the land of these people, savaged them, enslaved them, and stole everything, murdered them?
Well, then,
tell me, who are the real savages?
You know what you ought to do, Ralph? If you really believe all that garbage, what you ought to do is get on a plane immediately and get out of this country, because you don't like it, you hate it, so therefore you should have no part of it, you schmuck. Well, that slams the lid on things for today. Until tomorrow, when the Bob Grant program returns, and that means me, when we have our 3 contenders for the Republican nomination. Oh, they're here. Here they are, 2 gentlemen from the Radio Hall of Fame Museum. Thank you. Until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant reminding you your influence counts.
This is America's most listened to talk radio station.
WABC.